Welcome everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keene. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out. www.thebestdamnpodcast.tv. Follow me, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, The Real Best Damn, and wherever you're watching from. Make sure to hit that like, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think, share this link, spread it far and wide, and make sure to subscribe. Click that bell, that way you guys can get all of the notifications. And keep in mind, guys, we're viewer powered. That means we're fully funded and supported by you, the listener, and the viewer. So basically, it's your donations that keep things going. So if you get something from tonight's show, this will be a Discord show tonight. I will have it public for at least some period of time. But the Discord is open to everyone. The mics will be open to everyone. This will be a night where people are able to engage if they wish to. I did drop a couple of polls earlier. Oh, and let me drop this too. While I'm doing all the promo stuff. I am trying to raise funds right now. I told you guys in the video earlier, my oldest son's birthday is coming up, and I would like to get him something nice. And I'm also trying to actually move and start a new business endeavor. So please, guys, we still haven't hit the monthly goal this month. So please donate and support, which is obviously why I'm starting a new business endeavor. But please donate, support. If you get energy from tonight, make sure you give back. That way you get, the full benefit of everything that's being given. We're going to look at the community post real quick because we're going to talk about the Rose and the Cross and Rosicrucianism tonight. We're going to look at that, but we're also going to dive into something else. And this is suggested by one of you. So this should inspire you in the future to engage in the polls and stuff. And I posted them on both the YouTube channels. I asked the question, what subject you wanted to talk about tonight on Discord, and on both the channels we had a, variety of subjects, and I didn't want to hit on anything that we talk about all the time because it kind of, to me, the Discord shows are special, right? They're different. So, comment here by Chris Fuentes. It says, all these are very interesting, but I pick other, sex. It's a subject that us people suffer from, yet we hide from our lust and desires, which are different. It's a hard subject, but it must be confronted. Sexual trauma, something that everyone suffers from in one way or another in this world. There is no way around it, but through it, so it must come to pass. With that comes healing, better understanding. And I feel like this is probably something we've never even covered on this channel, not in any great detail. I mean, we've talked about it in some of these chats before, and it's gotten brought up, but never been more of a focal point. So we're going to explore some of that tonight too. We're going to look at, Rosicrucianism, and we're going to, get back a little bit into the OTO and Golden Dawn handbook and all of that. But I think for the main chunk, the main focus of tonight, we're going to look at sex and sexual trauma and carnal desire and exactly how that plays a role in our spirituality and what's healthy, what's unhealthy. What are boundaries that need to be created, for us in our lives to maintain a healthy spiritual balance and healthy sexuality. I think it's like, it's a great idea. It's one of the best I've ever seen. Like, I was actually blown away by the comment. I'm like, I put all this shit on the damn poll, and this dude just comes in and blows me out the water with the comment. So I'm like, okay, I'm going with it, though. I'm going with it. So that's what we're going to do. I'm very, very excited. If you are watching on the public platform, like I said, I don't know how long I can keep the public thing going. It just depends on which way the wind blows as far as the subject matter. If it starts to get a little bit intense, then I will have to cut it off. But I encourage everybody to come join me on Discord. I did put the Discord link into the it's in the Discord in the Best Damn podcast chat lobby. as well as it is in the description box for any of the platforms that you may be watching this on. So you can just click to that, go to the community section. I've also posted it, and I posted it on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So if you want to join us on Discord and you want to put your 2 cents in on, some of this Rosicrucianism and sex and trauma and sexual trauma, which I think, dude, one of the things, it's a very cool topic. I'm super excited. Tonight should be really cool, and I love doing the weekends. And I believe I've given everybody's microphones to them. So come in and mute your microphone just out of respect. And if you plan on speaking and talking, make sure you have headphones or have it set on push to talk. That way we don't get a big crazy echo or anything like that. But I would love to hear your feedback, as long as we're, respectful. And have mutual respect for one another. I don't see a problem with any of that. So tonight should be pretty exciting. Like I said, make sure to hit that thumbs up, hit that like button if you're watching in the chat, leave a comment, share the link, and donate and support the channel. It really does help us keep it moving here. So let's go ahead and jump into this. And first and foremost, let me just say, after this new moon here, and I know like the astrological point of view of things, but after this new moon here, how many of you have started your new manifestations? How many of you have started your new moon rituals? How many of you have been working on your positive affirmations, and how many of you have been working on your scripting? Just by a show of hands, I would really love to know if you guys are taking this seriously. Look, 8-8 Lionsgate portal was a manifestation portal, a great time for the scripting, positive affirmation, and trying to bring something new into fruition, as well as this new moon we just had. And you can do the new moon ritual 3 days before or 3 days after the energy is, at its peak. So, like I said, you can take a piece of paper, write down, something, 1 to 3 things that you would like to release within your life. Toxic things that no longer serve you, negative behaviors, traits, whatever, right? People that you would like to release in your life. And then write 3 things or 1 thing that you would like to manifest or attract into your life, right? So for positive. So the 3 negatives or the negative you want to release, and then the positive or the 3 positives you want to attract. I like to do it in 1s and 3s. And considering it was on the 11th, I went with 1 this time. But, and make sure, however you're wording it on the piece of paper, that you word it in a present tense and from a place of abundance, and not from a wording of lack. Like, I want this, right? You don't ever want to state it as lack, and you always want to act as if you already have it, or use I am statements. So, yeah, and remember, I'm challenging everybody to the new moon ritual of every day from new moon to new moon, which starts now, to do, positive affirmations in the mirror with yourself as a morning ritual when you wake up, to just reinforce your own power, your own positivity, and put love into your own image, your own reflection, as well as take those thoughts and intentions and put them out into the physical world by speaking them. So, if you got to say 10 loving things to yourself each morning, I don't think that's a bad start to a day. You feel me? Like, I don't think that's a bad start to a day at all, saying, I am beautiful, I am successful, I am confident. Whatever it is that you need to hear for you, and only you know what you need to hear for you. And you can even put a little twist on that ritual if you'd like as well. You could also take the time to journal each day, the experiences of the things that made you feel negatively, the things that brought you joy within your day. Like, you can play with this as much as you want. Like I said, I'm developing new concepts right now for the channel to just give everything an overhaul. We're going to really push things in a cool direction, and really try to set up a structure or a system of learning for, the more private side of things, for people that are truly, engaged with the content and want to pursue a path of illumination, want to pursue a path of self-growth and all of that. So it's like a really good investment in yourself to just be involved in these kind of things and pay attention to these kind of things, because they're incredibly important. So let's go ahead and start right now. I can't even tell what you said. Says you got this. Manifest truthfully. Tell the world. Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's what I'm working on. Like, I'll give you some of my stuff just for example. You know, right now, like, and that's why, in my video earlier, I tried to include like fundraisers and stuff like that. I know people don't like those things, or like they don't think YouTubers should do that, but I put my intentions out into the public of what I'm trying to attract to myself, of goals I'm setting within my own personal life, right? I am trying to currently move. I'm trying to currently start a new business. I'm trying to currently manifest a new partner, just all of these things. So I put those goals and aspirations out into the public. I state them, and I am asking the universe, when I'm asking the public, I'm asking the universe as well, right? Like, hey, help me out on this. Help bring this to me. And then everybody that's in alignment with that will, either feel inspired to give, to donate, or maybe they'll email me and want to participate in the new business project, or, whatever, right? Like, but nonetheless, it's being put out there to go along with, my journaling, to go along with my scripting, to go along with my positive affirmations, to go along with my Lion's Gate and new moon rituals, right? To really make something happen. And then a big chunk of that to me is maintaining a positive attitude towards what we're trying to manifest, towards what we're trying to attract, by staying in that place, in that space of like, yo, I've already got this. I already have this. This is me, right? Like, I got this shit. And, allowing positive energy to carry the momentum and carry the wave of consciousness and push us towards what it is we really want to bring into our lives, and being open to allow yourself to receive it, but in no specific order or no specific outcome, if that makes sense. Allow the universe the leeway, the room to kind of maneuver with your energy and bring you the best creation that is in alignment with your highest purpose. So you may say, hey, I want to be married by X and X date, or I want to be in a committed relationship, blah, 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 right? Don't say, hey, I want to be in a committed relationship with so-and-so. Right? Because then you put a limitation and like a price tag on it, basically. It's like saying, okay, well, this can only happen with this person. Well, you just narrowed the possibility or the probability, the odds extremely, you tapered them down. What if so-and-so cheats on you? What if so-and-so is not who you thought they were, right? Allow the universe to insert the right person, to insert the right job, to insert the right people, the right places, the right things to make the manifestation happen. Because a lot of times what will happen is you will get the steps that you need to take to get to the place you're trying to go. Like, that's why it's always good to script and create journals and outlines for these things as well, because then you can create step-by-step goals and processes of how to get where you want to be. Say you want to start a new YouTube channel. Well, you got to get an email first, do all the things you need to do to make it official on YouTube and be able to actually stream live from it. And then you need to set up social media accounts and so on and so forth. There's a process to it. You don't just viral on YouTube, without creating everything first. So the same thing works in relationships. If you want to attract a partner that has it all together, well, you need to be realistic in looking at yourself and saying, okay, well, what could I improve on myself? What could the action I can take, actually improve on myself right now in this moment to make myself more of a match with the energy I'm trying to bring in? Right? To align myself more with the energy I'm trying to be a part of if I'm going for a job or whatever else, right? So that's what I do. I write the stuff down. I set little mini goals and then kind of longer goals. And then I have a long-term overall goal of what I want to see it look like, or an idea of what I want it to be. But I know more than anything what I want it to feel like. And whenever doing manifestation, I told you the key is gratitude and being, humble and grateful for all that we already have and appreciating all that we already have. But it's also capturing that feeling when you're scripting about it, writing about it, when you're doing positive affirmations, when you're speaking on it, when you're doing anything around what you're trying to create, to have the feeling like you already have it, to be excited about it like it's already here, and to ride the lightning, man. Ride that feeling all the way home, because that feeling is what's actually going to bring the momentum to carry you to, your destination. So, with that said, let's go ahead and jump into this. But, I hope everybody's having a good weekend. We're going to start with the Order of the Rose and the Cross, and this is just basically going to be, a little bit of this before we get into, the sex topic and sexual trauma. And we probably will have to cut it off of the public when we go to that part. So that's why I'll do this one first, because we know that when we get into sexual trauma, that a lot of people have had experiences that began in childhood, right? I know people, and I don't even want to say I know people. I think that's not a good way to state that. I have met people in my past and throughout life, and have experienced others that have been affected tremendously as adults in the way that they conduct themselves in relationships and the way that their behavior is, due to the way that they were treated as children, or due to different types of things that have happened to them sexually throughout their lives. And even this experiences can go back to being like a teenager, a preteen, something embarrassing, or, having your heart broken. Like, a lot of these things create traumas, and you'll find in a lot of these, different scenarios too, they're karmic. They're incredibly karmic and very cyclical. I joke around all the time. It's like I say, like, my last 5 girlfriends have, they always seem to be like the same girl with just a different face, different body almost. You know what I mean? It's like, because the same experience keeps coming back around. It will vary in degree, like, one may treat me a little better, or, be a little sweeter to me in one way or the other, or take care of me better in one way or the other. So the situation improves as I learn the karmic lessons. But in the same token, there's underlying tones that always seem to be the same, like issues that I have within myself that stem from traumatic scenarios from my past that I'm bringing into current situations, or I have brought into current situations, should I say. And until you can actually change that situation, change those traumatic cycles, process through that trauma, and that's just doing the shadow work, right? Going within, finding where the emotion and the thought actually comes from, where it originates from, and processing that, looking at it honestly with yourself and how it truly has affected you and made you feel, and releasing any resentment, anger, aggression, animosity that you may have towards a situation, and creating some sort sense of completion or forgiveness within yourself. That way you can process that, move on, and start something new. And that's what I mean, that good feeling is what really pulls us in the direction of new momentum and new cycles, and not carrying those same old shit thoughts. Well, this is always going to be the same. They're always going to cheat on me. They're always going to lie to me. Whatever it is, right? They're always going to hurt me. And we do this in relationships. We do this in jobs, right? They'll never appreciate me. I'll never get a raise. Da 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 da. Right? Like, these are how we carry old karma into the present. And this is why it's so important for us to not just change our behavior externally and how we carry ourselves with our character, but to actually change the way we think and the way we feel about things, and to change the way we look at every situation and every possibility. If we bring a sense of positivity and optimism to everything that we approach, then we have a far more likely chance of succeeding at whatever it is we're trying to accomplish. So energy drinks helped you drive awake. Well, energy drinks are good. I like energy drinks for show, so I'm a fan. Let's go ahead and dive into this. And like I said, we're going to do a little bit of the Rose and the Cross. And let me show you this first. Let's go here first. This was sent to me by a viewer. An excerpt out of a book, actually. I shared it on Twitter. Twitter at the real best damn, if you want to follow me over on Twitter. Did I already have it pulled up? I might have already had, there we go. And check this out. This is on Rosicrucianism. Confessio fraternitas. To those desirous of wisdom. Here, kind reader, you shall find 37 reasons of our intent and purpose in this confession, which you may search out and compare with each other, and consider good pleasure, if and win you over to our side. Truly, it requires no little trouble to confirm what is not yet seen by men. But when it shall one day appear in the light, we have no doubt previous conjectures and suppositions will be held of small account. And as we here below, in truth and without fear, name the Pope of Rome as the Antichrist, a thing before considered a deadly sin and a crime everywhere worthy of death, we also know that the time will come when we will openly and fully declare with a loud voice that which is now kept secret, but then it shall be acknowledged by everyone. Kind reader, join us in a heartily hoping that it may occur in the shortest possible time. Right? And this is actually on Rosicrucianism. And it was talking about basically the condemnation associated with Rosicrucianism and how it's a very deceptive system, right? This one that we find ourselves or find is subject to the Pope. And I'm going to read just a small excerpt of this just for you guys at home, just so you can see why someone would come to this conclusion. And remember, the Roman Catholic Church, Christianity, the anagram within the word Christianity is Antichrist is in that word. Okay? So, there's that. I'm not saying he is or isn't, or it is or isn't, but I just wanted to share that because I thought it was actually fascinating. And it pertains to what we're going to be talking about tonight, right? So let's look at just an excerpt from the Extreme Jesuit Oath. Just an excerpt here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Whoops, I think I hit the wrong page here. Now, I guys want you to see why people believe this, okay? Why people believe, that there's such a dark side to this, right? To the Extreme Jesuit Oath of Induction. And, they claim their allegiance to the Pope. And here we go. I'm not going to do it all, but like I said, I am going to actually go to one part in particular. All right. Right here. I do further promise and declare that I will, when opportunity presents, make and wage relentless wars secretly and openly against all heretics, Protestants, and Masons, as I am directed to do, to extirpate them from the face of the whole earth, and that I will spare neither age, sex, nor condition, that I will hang, burn, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive these infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of their women, and crush their infants' heads against the walls in order to annihilate their execrable race. That when the same cannot be done openly, I will secretly use the poisoned cup, the strangulation cord, the steel of the poniard, or the leaden bullet, regardless of the honor, rank, dignity, or authority of the persons, whatever may be their condition in life, either public or private, as I at any time may be directed to do so by any agents of the Pope or Superior of the Brotherhood of the Holy Father of the Society of Jesus. And this is one of the biggest reasons, the Extreme Jesuit Oath of Induction. This is one of the big reasons why people, have such a big problem, with the Jesuits, with the Pope, with all of this, because of oaths like that, So I'm just saying, talking more about Trump, I do see a comment that says talk more about Trump. We're gonna, we can maybe cover Trump tonight if you have questions or there's things you want to talk about. Like I said, I am going to open up the mics to people if they want to, get in on the action. But let's start here. The Order of the Rose and the Cross. Rosicrucian greeting. May the roses bloom upon your cross. The Temple of the Rosy Cross. Theophilus Schweigert Constantians, 1618. Rosicrucianism is a philosophical secret society said to have been founded in late medieval Germany by Christian Rosencreutz, built on esoteric truths of the ancient past, which, concealed from the average man, provide insight into nature, the physical universe, and the spiritual realm. Rosicrucianism is symbolized by the rose cross, which is also found in certain rituals beyond craft or Blue Lodge Freemasonry. Between 1607 and 1616, 2 anonymous manifestos were published, first in Germany and later throughout Europe. These were Fama Fraternitas RC, the fame of the Brotherhood of Rose Cross. And let's see if we can actually pull those up. We'll try to get into that. There we go. Looks like we'll have that. So that'd be something we can actually look into as well. And like I said, we will be getting into sex and trauma and all of that also. So that's going to be a part of this tonight too. So. And hopefully, I do see we're getting a little bit of buffer here. So everybody just please, reload the page if it buffers or whatever. Now, between 1617, Rosicrucianism was more closely associated with Protestantism than Roman Catholicism, and in particular was most closely associated with Lutheranism. According to historian David Stevenson, it was also influential to Freemasonry as it was emerging in Scotland. In later centuries, many esoteric societies have claimed to derive their doctrines in whole or in part from the original Rosicrucians. The Rosicrucian order is viewed among earlier and many modern Rosicrucianists as an inner worlds order, comprised of a great adepts. When compared to human beings, the consciousness of these adepts, like that of demigods, this college of invisibles, is regarded as the source permanently behind the development of the Rosicrucian movement. Several modern societies have been formed through the study of Rosicrucianism and allied subjects. However, many researchers on the history of Rosicrucianism argue that modern Rosicrucians are in no sense directly derived from the Brethren of the Rosy Cross of the 17th century. Instead, they are considered to be keen followers. Moreover, some have viewed the 17th century order as a literary hoax or prank, rather than an operative society. Others contend that history shows them to be the genesis of later operative and functional societies. The origins. According to a legend published in the 17th century Rosicrucian manifestos, the Rosicrucian order was founded in 1407, the early 15th century, by a German pilgrim named Christian Rosenkreutz, who studied the Middle East under various occult masters. During his lifetime, the order was alleged to be small, consisting of no more than 8 members. When Rosenkreutz died in 1484, the order disappeared, only to be reborn in the early 17th century. Most modern Rosicrucians accept this legend to varying degrees. Some accept it as literal truth. Others see it as a parable, and yet others believe Rosenkreutz to be a pseudonym for a more famous historical figure, usually Francis Bacon. According to a lesser-known legend, and a lot of people believe that Francis Bacon did indeed write the King James Bible, responsible for Shakespeare, a lot of things written by Francis Bacon, and he, in my opinion, is one of the greatest writers of all time, one of the greatest minds of all time. Sir Francis Bacon was. And, that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You can see it however you see it, right? You can see it however you choose to see it. I'll leave that to you, basically. And let me know if everything is coming through on the chat and stuff you guys can see and hear and all of that, if everything's coming in good. I do see that there is a bit of a delay from what we're doing on the channel as to what's going on YouTube. So let me make sure that we're good there. Looks like we're good. Okay. Now, according to a lesser-known legend found in Masonic literature, the Rosicrucian order was created in year 46 when an Alexandrian Gnostic sage named Ormus and his 6 followers were converted by one of Jesus' disciples, Mark. From this conversion, Rosicrucianism was born by fusing early Christianity with Egyptian mysteries. By this account, rather than being its founder, Rosencreutz would have been initiated into and become the Grand Master of an already existing order. According to Emile Dantine, the origins of the Rosicrucians may have an Islamic connection as told in their first manifesto, Fama Fraternitas, early 17th century. Christian Rosenkreutz started his pilgrimage at the age of 16. This led him to Arabia, Egypt, and Morocco, where he was put into contact with the sages of the East, who revealed to him the universal harmonic science. After learning Arabic philosophy in Jerusalem, he was led to Damkar. This place remains a mystery. It did not become Damascus, but it is somewhere not too far from Jerusalem. Then he went to Egypt, where he did not stay for long. Soon afterwards, he embarked to physical and occultist studies, such as the alchemy of Abdallah Jabir bin Han and Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, the astrology of magic in Ali Ash-Shambralishi, and the esoteric science of Abdraham bin Abdallah al-Iskari. However, Dantine states that Rosenkreutz may have found his secrets amongst the Brethren of Purity, a society of philosophers that had formed in Basra, Iraq, during the first half of the 4th century. The doctrine had its source in the study of the ancient Greek philosophers, but it became more pronounced in a Neo-Pythagorean direction. They adopted the Pythagorean tradition of envisioning objects and ideas in terms of their numeric aspects. Their theurgy taught the divine and angelic names, conjurations, the Kabbalah, exorcisms, and other related subjects. The Brethren of Purity and the Sufis were united in many points of doctrine. They both were mystical orders deriving from the Quranic theology, where dogma is supplanted by faith in the divine reality. Many similarities with the Rosicrucians were expressed in the manifestos and the Brethren of Purity ways of life as well. Neither group wore special clothing. Both practiced abstinence, they healed the sick, and they offered their teachings free of charge. Similarities also were evident in the doctrinal elements of their theurgy and the story of creation in terms of emanationism, the curious legend of which the fabulous origin of the so-called society was established so improbable through ingenious that the genesis of the Rosicrucians was generally overlooked or ignored in the writings of time. Christian Rosenkreutz had discovered wisdom on a pilgrimage to the East in the 15th century. The metaphorical quality of these legends lends to the nebulous nature of the origins of Rosicrucianism. For example, opening of Rosenkreutz's tomb is thought to be the only way of referring to the cycles in nature and to cosmic events. History, and I will tell you this, a lot of the things that we discuss on this channel do directly correlate to Rosicrucianism. So we do explore a lot of Rosicrucian ideas on this channel in particular. I study a lot of, Rosicrucianism in my own time. By any means am I claiming to be, the end-all, beat-all authority on Rosicrucianism? No, but I'm saying we study hella concepts of Rosicrucianism on this channel. The founder of the Order of the Rosy Croix belonged and affirmed by historians to a noble family, but there is no document that allows us to affirm this pretemporarily. It's on the foundation of these teachings Rosenkreutz conceived the plan for simultaneous and universalist religious, philosophic, scientific, political, and artistic reform. For the realization of his plan, he united with several disciples, 7 at first, like the 7 sacred disciplines or sciences, according to Fama Fortunatus, to whom he gave the name of the Rosy Croix. However, it was certain that he was an Orientalist and a great traveler. What was known in the early 17th century as the Fraternity of the Rose Cross seemed to have been a number of isolated individuals who held certain views in common, which apparently was their only bond of union. So they were all very different, right? Very different. But what held them together was they just had certain views that were in common, and particularly conscious views. These views regarding Hermetic knowledge, which Hermetic means sealed, the hidden knowledge, related to the higher nature of man, and also with common philosophical conceptions towards the foundation of a more perfected human society. They were also humanist, right? There is no trace of a fraternity of secret society which held meetings or had officers or leaders. So far as many works are concerned, it is evident that the writers who posed as Rosicrucians were moral and religious reformers and utilized the technicalities of chemistry or alchemy and the sciences generally as media through which to publicize their opinions and beliefs. Their writings included a hint of mysticism or occultism, promoting inquiry and suggesting hidden meanings discernible or discoverable only by adepts. The publications on Fama Fraternitas Rosicrucis 1614, Confessio Fraternitas 1615, and Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosenkreutz 1616 caused immense excitement throughout Europe. These works declared the existence of a secret brotherhood of alchemists and sages who were interpreted as preparing to transform the arts, sciences, religion, political, and intellectual landscape of Europe while wars of politics and religion ravaged the continent. They were idealists, right? They were trying to transform the landscape of our educational reality, the way that we perceive reality, right? Through all the different sciences and discernible methods of teaching and philosophical methods of learning into something more congruent and easily adaptable and understood by the adept, by the initiate, by the one seeking to be illuminated, right? And change the way that humanity sees things as a whole to a more truer nature of our being. Not only did these works lead to many reissues, but they were followed by numerous pamphlets, favorable and otherwise, whose authors generally knew little of the real aims of the original author and often amused themselves at the public's expense. According to historical records, it is probable that the first work was circulated in manuscript form about 1610, even though there was no mention of the order before that decade. In fact, the research indicates that all 3 documents probably were the creation of Lutheran theologian Johann Valentin André, 1586 to 1654. However, his authorship only is confirmed for the Chemical Wedding, which he subsequently described as a ludibrium. The authors of the Rosicrucian works generally favored Lutheranism as opposed to Roman Catholicism. Around 1530, more than 80 years before the publication of the first manifesto, documented evidence of the cross and the rose already existed in Portugal, in the convent in the Order of Christ, home of the Knights Templar, which later was renamed Order of Christ, right? So the home of the Knights Templar is where you'll also find the origins of Rosicrucianism. How convenient, right? 3, both seats were and still are on the Boda of the initiations room. In these cases, the rose can clearly be seen at the center of the cross. At the same time, a minor writing by Paracelsus called Prognosticatio Eximil Doctoris Paracelsi contained the image of a double cross over an open rose along with written reference to it. The Occultus Stanislas de Guecha, Al Suil du Mystere used Paraclesis writing and other examples to prove the fraternity of the Rose Cross existed far earlier than 1614. It is evident that the first Rosicrucian Manifesto, Fama Fraternitas, was influenced by the work of the respected Hermetic philosopher Heinrich Kunrath of Hamburg. He was author of the Amphitheatrum Sapientiae Aeterni, and was in turn strongly influenced by the work of the mysterious philosopher and alchemist John Dee, author of the Monas Hieroglyphica. And I believe it was John Dee that was actually one of the stories about John Dee, and him being one of the great occultists and magicians and just, illuminist of, recorded time, right? That he was giving counsel, I believe, to the queen or something like that, royalty basically, and that his counsel was held in such high regard because of his astrological knowledge, his mystical knowledge, that they would wage wars, on the word of people like John Dee. And that one of the ways that he got his claim to fame was by telling, there was like an invasion force, I believe it was from France, coming in one time, and he actually gave counsel to the queen to not even attack, right, and to hold everybody back. And the way that energy moved was that there was a storm coming in of some sort, right, and he cast this spell, allegedly, and all of the ships by the enemy were wiped out, essentially saving the people, right? And that was one of the first, claims to fame that he had was, his knowledge, his foresight, his gift of, prophecy and all of that is what made him, such a great magician. Among these are the works of Michael Mayer of Germany, Robert Flood, and Elias Ashmole of England, and many others, such as Theophilus Swigart, Gothardus Arthusius, Julius Sperber, Henricus Mathanus, Gabriel Hautz, Thomas Vaughan. Some later works on impact of Rosicrucianism were the Opus Mago Kabbalisticum and the Theosophicum by George von Welling of Alchemical and Paraclesian Inspiration, and Aureum Velis Order Goldinus VS by Hermann Fichtold. Michael Meyer, philosopher, alchemist, practical chemist, and a doctor in medicine, was ennobled with the title Pfalzgraf, or Count Palatine, by Rudolf II, Emperor and King of Hungary and King of Bohemia. He was also one of the most prominent apologists and defenders of the Rosicrucians, clearly transmitting details about the Brothers of the Rose Cross in his writings. Mayer made the firm statement that the Brothers of the RC actually exist to advance inspired arts and sciences, including alchemy. The researchers of Mayer's writings point out that he never stated in an objective way that he had produced gold. Neither Heinrich Kunrath nor any other Rosicrucians ever said as well. Their writings point towards a highly symbolic and spiritual alchemy, more than an operative one, both direct, veiled styles. These writings conveyed the 9 stages of the involutive, evolutive transmutation of the threefold body of the human being, the threefold soul, and the threefold spirit, among other esoteric knowledge related to the path of initiation. And this is spiritual alchemy, right? We've talked about this with the, Hermetics and the Golden Dawn, OTO. It all kind of comes back to the same thing, that turning that iron into gold, or, that clay into gold, or whatever it is you're trying to convert into gold with that first stone is talking about using your third eye, that Kundalini awakening, the alignment of the chakras, and the initiation process of working through each of the chakras, their colors, to create self-mastery and master the totality of your being and your energetic field and your vibration, essentially raising the vibration, turning you into spiritual gold, transfiguration, transmutation, bringing about illumination or enlightenment. And that's the process, right? That's a process that, starts with, activation and all of this, and goes into many different forms, many different practices. Some people believe that this is brought on through trauma. Some people believe no pain, no gain type of mentality, that it's through our suffering that these processes are actually activated. Some people believe that it's going through the deepest, darkest recesses of the human psyche and subconscious that these things happen, only to descend can we ascend. And that's why you will see perverse practices, or what is considered to be perverse practices of orgies and things like that, right? Some people believe that it is a giving up of self, and there's a certain sacrificial element to it, as far as, people giving up sex, or, ritualistic natures, as well as, a combination of all of the above, including certain magical practices and incantations and different forms of meditation and learning how to use the consciousness to travel outside the body, essentially mastering the aura, putting the chakras into alignment, and hopefully we're still live here. Looks like we are. Putting the auras into alignment and raising the vibratory state of the entire spirit of the body you're in, right? And understanding the 7 sacred sciences and the practices, which you can find in the Kabbalion, essentially, right? To break those down, those hermetic principles of how the basis of reality works, how they apply to spiritual, right? And, studying on all the different levels. Rosicrucianism is like the college degree in that. Right? Once you've kind of went down the path of initiation and illumination, and you went through, the basic learning, and you found yourself understanding, the numerological aspects, astrological aspects of these, as well as, karmic and chakric aspects of these, and just the way that different energies interact with our bodies and how we interact with ourselves. In the philosophical aspects of this, that this takes it to the higher plane or the higher level. In the 1618 Manifesto, Pia de Altissima Admonicio de Fratibus Rosicrucis Henriques ne Husicis presented the conception that the Rosicrucians left to the east due to the instability of Europe in the time of the 30 Years' War. In 1710, Samuel Richter and later Renz Guzman also presented the idea of the same works. However, another eminent author of the Rosicrucians, Arthur Edward Waite, presents motifs which contradict the idea. It was in the fertile field of discourse and filling the vacuum left by original Rosicrucians that many societies said to be were based on the occult tradition inspired by the mystery of the College of Invisibles. However, it's only possible only a few of them may have something in common with the true Rosicrucian order other than that name in the College of Invisibles. Right? That's the courts of heaven, man. It's the courts of heaven. It's once you've actually already attained a certain point of enlightenment can you only begin to seek true transmutation and transfiguration. And that's my opinion. Like I said, I feel like there are many courses, many paths that we can take to illumination. And I don't... you got bad service tonight? Oh, that's cool, man. I understand. I'm recording it, so this will be added to the playlist for those who do donate, support, and join us over on Patreon and YouTube channel memberships. And if you have donated and supported in the month of August, text 513-393-2396 or email therealbestdampodcast@gmail.com to get those Dropbox links. And if you'd like to book a tarot reading, they are $50. Email or text that number and put tarot reading in the notes of your donation. And I'll send you a video tarot reading or do a tarot reading within 24 hours of your payment. Or if you'd like to book a spiritual compilation, a spiritual profile, they're $100 and they take a couple of days. I can do it in video, but we also have an hour-long sit-down going over the different gematria, etymology, and all of that in the name. So, like I said, I am trying to raise funds right now. It's a really big deal. This might be the last month that I'm actually doing YouTube. So, just because we've struggled to get the support big time, and I've been pushing it. I've been trying really hard and working really hard, but, it's not happening. So I'm trying to start a new business. So I'm asking everybody, please donate if you can help. My oldest son's birthday's coming up. I do need help with that, and I am trying to move and start something new. So I definitely could use the help if you guys appreciate what I do here. The Knight of the Rosy Croix, Masonic Smith Scottish Rite. Closure of the Flower of Life and Time, the Masonic program. In September may be the last month of the show if we start the new business on time. So, which I will still keep a private version of all of this, but so just saying, it's wrapping up. And it's because of the way that everything's changed. Right? It's not because I don't love to do it. I still do love to do it and have a passion for it and love teaching and love learning. But man, we just can't get the support anymore. So, and I'm sick of catching all the flack, for asking for the help. So, the other was the ancient and accepted Scottish rite practiced in France. During the 18th century, there were several rites practiced in Freemasonry based on the Renaissance universe of Hermeticism and alchemy, which was created by the Rosicrucians of the 17th century or earlier. Although many serious research attempts were made to learn about the change from the operative masonry to speculative masonry, no concrete answer has yet been found, other than it occurred between the end of the 16th century and beginning of the 17th century. Two of the first speculative Masons were Sir Robert Moray and Elias Ashmole. Of a Masonic lodge meeting in Warrington, Lancashire, there is no documented evidence to Christopher McIntosh's speculation that Robert Flood may have been a Mason. Neither is there any documented evidence to support Arthur Edward Waite speculating that Flood may have introduced a Rosicrucian influence into Freemasonry. However, Robert von Loo states that in the earlier 17th century, Rosicrucianism had a considerable influence on Anglo-Saxon Masonry. Hans Sick sees the Rosicrucian work of Comenius, the idea of newly born English Masonry before the foundation of the Grand Lodge in 1717. Comenius was in England during 1641, a point of similarity between the two groups in continental Europe. It's found during the 18th century. The Masonic Circle of Gold und Rosenkreuz, Golden and Rosy Crossed, published by the Geheim figurine of the secret symbols of the 16th and 17th century Rosicrucians in 1785 and 88. The circle, oriented by Hermann Fichtold from 1777 along Masonic lines, had important branches in Russia, which may have introduced Freemasonry and Martinism into that region. Rose Cross, alchemy and divine sciences of healing and astronomy. Like I said, on this channel, we do a great deal of Hermetics. We talk about Hermeticism. On this channel, we do a great deal around astrology and tarot and archetypes and all of this. So a lot of what we cover here, and alchemy as well. So a lot of what we cover here touches into this vein. The alchemy in the laboratory of the ancestor of modern chemistry, where the ultimate goal was understanding of the laws of nature in order to aid the individual's quest for perfection, recalls another type of alchemy, the one called spiritual. The true alchemists, or philosophers of the fire, often make reference in their works to the blowers, meaning all those who were just interested in the creation of gold and the material aspects of alchemy. In his laboratory, the alchemist works on the materia prima and surrounds himself among other tools to accomplish the operations of a furnace with a peculiar form called athanor. In the point of view from spiritual alchemy, the materia prima is the human soul. And about the athanor, it is constituted by the physical body and the subtle bodies. These last ones maintain the life of the most dense one and assure the connection with the soul.